This week we're going to go over the flageolet section of Czardas, but first let me try and play it for you. 99% of what we're going to play in this section are artificial harmonics. There's a couple of spots where we play natural harmonic, but mostly they're all artificial. And what's the difference between natural and artificial harmonics? Well, for natural harmonics, we use one finger to very lightly touch specific places on the fingerboard. They're called nodes, and when you play on these nodes, the violin produces this very sweet whistle tone, very ethereal. And so yeah, the artificial harmonics, on the other hand, we use two fingers to produce the exact same sound effect. We do this by first stopping one note and then placing the fourth finger. So for example, the first artificial harmonic that we're going to play in this section, we are going to place the first finger on D, on the A string. This is third position, and then very lightly the fleshy part of your fourth finger is lightly touching where the note G would be. And effectively what we're doing here is we are shortening the length of the string. So we are basically bringing the nut closer to the bridge because we're stopping the note here, and it very much feels like doing double stops practice, except on one string. For this piece, the distance between the first finger and the fourth finger are all going to be an interval of a perfect 4. In some cases, the music can ask you to extend that fourth finger into like a perfect 5th interval, but in this case, we won't have to stretch that far. So the other thing to remember when you're playing artificial harmonics is that, as you know, when you move closer to the bridge, the notes become closer together, and so that will affect the distance between the first and fourth finger. And then when you come down, the space becomes bigger, so you will be constantly adjusting your finger depending on what position you're in. And yeah, so with that in mind, let me show you how I would practice artificial harmonics. My suggestion would be to train the first finger first because it's going to act like an anchor. So we're going to treat this like double stops practice, and we're going to focus on the lower voice first, like this. So you notice that I used only my first finger for all of the shifts, and it's, if you look at the PDF that I've posted, it's going to have all the indication on where you're meant to play the notes on the string. So I marked it as Roman numerals so that you'll know exactly which strings to play on. So once you're comfortable with all of the shifts, you can add the fourth finger. And you're going to add it in such a way where everything is going to be light, because you're going to shift a lot with these artificial harmonics. And so you want to be able to lift the fourth finger easily and adjust it so that you can find exactly where these whistle tones are. So make sure that your first finger is in tune. So that's flat. There. Add the fourth finger. See how it sounds scratchy? Move it around until you find it. So it's there. And use a lot of bow, really fast. You can even do vibrato. Definitely add vibrato to the longer notes. So here, really hard to do that on the D string. So you need to almost lift the hand off a little and vibrate. The other thing with artificial harmonics and natural harmonics too is that you want to use quite a bit of bow speed because you could be in the right place with the left hand, but if you don't use enough bow speed, it can sound a little bit gritty. So you want to use more. And you know, when you're trying to find the center of the pitch with your left hand, sometimes your bow is going to naturally feel sluggish. So you want to take a mental note to really keep the bow moving. Alright, so I hope you'll have a lot of fun exploring artificial harmonics, and next week we are going to wrap up the practice challenge and go through the most impassioned section of Czardas, which is Largo.